So, you want to know how magic got here? I can tell you, although I should admit none of this is my research. Far better historians and archivists worked it out long before I ever started digging through old ruins. Well, as you probably already know, before the dragons came to Eryndore, there was no magic. Or perhaps I should be a little more precise. The gods existed. Other planes existed. There were certainly powers beyond mortal understanding. But here in Eryndore, we had no magic. If you were sick, you found a healer. If you wanted fire, you struck flint. If you wanted to kill someone, well, we had already invented quite a few ways of doing that, but nobody could summon flame from their hands. No enchanted swords, no potions, no wizards. And then the dragons arrived. The dragons weren't creatures of Eryndore. They came from another plane, summoned here by the gods. And when they arrived, magic didn't slowly follow them. It arrived with them. Dragons were inherently magical creatures. Yeah, magic was part of what they were. So from the moment the first dragon entered our world, magic existed in Eryndore. And some of the consequences were immediate. A dragon's presence could alter the world around it. Weather, vegetation, animals, even the elements themselves. Where a dragon established a lair, strange things could begin happening remarkably quickly. But many of those early changes were tied directly to the dragon. Take the dragon away, and eventually much of its influence disappeared. But something else had happened the moment the dragons arrived. Eryndore had always existed alongside other planes. The gods had always been there. But before the dragons, our world was largely isolated from them. The arrival of so much magical essence changed that. The barriers between Eryndore and the other planes became thinner. Mortals could now reach powers that had always existed, but had previously been beyond their grasp. Divine magic became possible, and the gods were not the only things on the other side.
So, the dragons taught us magic?
No. Well, that's where people often get this wrong.
But you just said...
They brought magic. They didn't teach us what to do with it. The longer dragons remained, the deeper their influence became. Living things were being exposed to magical essence generation after generation, and some began to change permanently. Plants adapted, animals adapted, entire ecosystems slowly incorporated traces of magic. And unlike the weather surrounding a dragon's lair, these changes could reproduce. So magic began spreading without the dragons. Seeds carried it, rivers carried it, animals carried it. Nature had begun doing what nature always does, adapting.
Then killing the dragon would stop it?
Quite the opposite, really. A dragon's death could expose the world to far more magical essence than its ordinary presence ever had. Blood, flesh, scales, bones. Every part of the creature carried magic. Some places changed so profoundly that centuries later the land still bears the consequences of a dragon dying there. And eventually we did what people always do when they discover something useful. We experimented. At first, nobody understood what they were dealing with. They simply knew certain plants healed wounds that ordinary plants couldn't. Certain minerals behaved in ways ordinary metals didn't. Certain substances could produce effects that should have been impossible. So they recorded what worked. Eventually, people stopped merely using things that contained magic. They learned how magic itself behaved. That took generations. Wizardry, artificing, alchemy, runes, rituals. None appeared fully formed. Every spell, every technique, every enchanted object represented knowledge somebody had to discover, and usually quite a few failures before they did. Some failures were way more educational than others, so there wasn't a single day when Eryndore suddenly became the magical world we know. Some things changed the moment the dragons arrived. Others took years. Others took centuries. Magic spread through the natural world. Our connection to the other planes changed, and mortals slowly learned how to manipulate what had once belonged only to creatures from another world. By the time magic had become something that could be studied and taught, Eryndore itself had changed. So that's the answer. The dragons brought magic to Eryndore. Their presence changed the land. The land changed its creatures. And eventually, we learned how to use what they had brought here. Eryndore learned how to make magic its own.
How do you know all this?
I told you, better historians than me.
Then what do you research?
Another drink, maybe.